Hey, this is Death Unto Madness. We have returned for Season 3, and we're very excited to be here. So when we kind of finished up Season 2, we knew that Maria wouldn't be joining us again. And what's-her-face, Ophelia is kind of like an NPC villain anyway at this point. But also, Seth is a bit too busy, so he also backed out. But also, his character kind of ended up being an NPC villain too, so it all kind of works out. And so joining us with Chad, Alyssa, and Carly is Josh. This is the first time you've actually been in an actual like campaign on, except for the Weave the Below, but a streamed game long term. Been on some one shots and is kind of known around these parts as like the #1 fan of the channel in some ways. But now I guess he can't be a fan because he's a player, so someone else has to be the #1 fan. But
you seem to recruit a lot of your fans. Carly was your #1 fan. Now she's your wife, and now Josh Lang is here. Yeah, what's that about?
Well, if they like the show, then I'm like, cool, you should play in the show. There aren't enough of. I need to have a steady stream of recruits for this thing. Because people get busy and aren't free anymore, so I have to snatch others. Cool, but we're gonna kind of pick up with our characters. Probably like with like a couple of months of time skip. It's not gonna be too crazy, I don't think. But Seth and Maria's characters are now NPC villains ruling the ruins of Sinia, what's left of it. And the kind of situation we found ourselves in last time is, right, Sinia is burning. Sinia is like basically under the control of horrible mad cultists. And basically there's like 2 different cults right now, like fighting for control of Sinia in its ashes. It's very much not in a good place. But you guys all escaped. Some in better accommodations than others, since Alpheus is currently under in the imprisonment of one Titan, on his way to Kyrides. But let's go ahead and start with a trait vote. Let's think about what the last season kind of brought our characters, specifically Alpheus, Maya, and Avra, and talk real quick about traits we may want to vote on or off characters before we jump into like the current events. Let's take a look at the past again. And I re-listened to everything, and I think Josh did as well. So we'll have we can refresh anyone who oh my gosh, you're a madman.
It's only 20 episodes. It's easy to get through,
I suppose. And
I have an 8-hour workday, which that's the only thing I do.
Yep. Understandable. Let's go ahead and start with Alpheus. Let's figure out what he may have changed to
Don't start with me. I didn't rewatch everything.
That's all right. We can refresh. You're just kind of first in the overlay, so okay. Real quick, so everyone should have access to Chad's character sheet on Roll20, so you should be able to look at his beliefs and instincts and
Alpheus
traits.
the second?
Alpheus the second. Yeah, I realized your father's Alpheus the first,
so
I went ahead and added that, so,
I'm a junior.
Yeah, junior. Yeah, exactly. I guess that's what we're going to call you the rest of the time, just junior.
I hate height.
Yeah, so let's look at traits and see what may have changed for Alpheus with this. So currently his traits are strong-willed, cramped hands, pragmatic, intellectual, competitive, impulsive, broken in, and driven. So I think the max typically standard for a trait vote would be 2 traits voted on and 2 traits voted off. That would be like the absolute maximum we do. But if we can't find anything, then we don't have to change anything. It's just if we think Alpheus has changed significantly, if something doesn't seem to work anymore, or if something should be added. The first thing that comes to mind for me is Alpheus seems, well, he just betrayed everyone, right? So like, I don't know if there's some sort of trait along those lines that we maybe want to add. Not necessarily.
I forget what I did.
But, well, you revealed to Titan that
Maya's
I remember now. son is the like heir to the throne.
Wasn't I being tortured or something?
You were being tortured.
Yeah, it was under duress.
It was under duress, but still. Because what happened is
one of
he
his
threatened
beliefs,
torture, and then you were like, "Don't torture me. I'll tell you what you want to know. I know the biggest secret." That was like your go-to immediate thing you did was, "I know a big secret. Don't torture me, and I'll tell you."
Yeah.
So.
And then they tortured me anyways.
And then they tortured you anyway. What were you going to say, Alyssa?
I was going to say, but one of his beliefs, though, is that he feels really terrible about it and that he wants to right his wrongs. So I don't know that I fully believe that he's going to be like full, like, oh, yes, I'm just betraying Sinia.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it probably will.
Because I don't hate.
It's a situation that will evolve, and how Alpheus responds to it might give him a trait in the future. But I feel like maybe it just falls under impulsive for now, right? Like he did it just because he's impulsive.
There is one trait I found which I think would fit Alfie as well, and it's called Catalyst. It's
take a look.
It's a die trait. It says you are the center of something great and terrible. Basically, it's to do with your actions causing conflict between big players. So even though you may not be the biggest player, your actions basically lead to things. So I don't know. Basically, the effect is every time your actions cause conflict between two powerful people or organizations, you get a persona point just automatically.
I feel like I've done that so many times.
It's true.
I don't know. Maybe if you accidentally cause an assassin to kill the king, that would be a thing. Or if you get a son kidnapped for some reason, or perhaps if an assassin then gets killed by Chirodes in general in the future.
Yeah. So let's see. We have. It looks like this is in revised. So I don't think it's a gold trait unless they just added it. To the
I bought gold revised book.
Oh, it's gold revised. Yes, I didn't see the G there. I thought it was just like the old edition. I'm trying to bring up the PDF for it real quick so I can actually read the trait off. Let's find this. All of my books are packed away still in boxes behind me. So I don't have it on hand. But yeah, I mean, definitely from what you read, Josh, that definitely seems pretty relevant for.
Yeah, I've got it here if you want it.
Yeah. Do you want to read it?
It's you are the center of something great and terrible. Earn a persona point each time your actions cause a conflict between two powerful personas or organizations.
I like it. What do you think, Chad?
Yeah, but what do I switch it for?
So you don't have to switch it for anything. You can just add it. And this would be this is technically a vote for all of us. Like as long as I vote majority is okay.
I definitely vote yes.
It definitely seems like a good
same here.
Yeah. So is that's a die trait? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool. I just went ahead and added in. And I'll make sure to copy and paste the actual description of it so you have it there.
Cool.
Sounds good. Is Alpheus intellectual? That's the only one on this
used to be
list. That's well, you were like a politician, but I don't know if that means you're intellectual, right? Like, so intellectual. This is like the cultural trait that you started with, for being Sinian. But like the Sinian intellectual, like the way they take that is like you debate a lot. You're very interested in philosophy.
No, I don't.
I feel like Alpheus isn't that way. Like he's cunning and stuff, right? But that's different from intellectual, right? He's not academic in the same way that most Sinians are. So if everybody's fine, if I think it makes sense to take that one off if we were to take one off.
Fine.
But I feel like the other ones are probably good to keep on.
The other ones all make sense.
Yeah, that's what I think so too.
But I don't think he's
about taking on intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think he is particularly intellectual. If it has to do with philosophy and stuff.
What's your argument, Josh?
It's because you can. It's also used to refer to people like political thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily strictly academic,
it's
to do with cerebral. And admittedly, none of his plans actually work.
Right.
But he
that's
does
part of the thing, right?
Plan.
It feels like he's less like a political theorist and more an opportunist who happens to be in politics. Like if he was in any other sphere, he would be acting the same way, but he just happened to be a politician, and so he
The only reason I'd contest it is like it was essentially his idea, the whole bringing people behind the hills. Like there were things that he thought up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a vote. So who thinks we should take it off? I think we still should. I don't know about anybody else.
Somebody who did not watch season 1 or all of season 1, I don't know if I really have a particular opinion on it.
Yeah.
So I feel like Carly's got to be the deciding vote. Sorry, Carly.
What do you think, Carly?
Yeah, I would be fine with taking it off because I feel like he's more of a he is a politician, but he doesn't really operate the way most politicians would.
Yeah.
Which would be like in an intellectual way.
At the very least, Sinian politicians usually act intellectually, but I don't think he really fits that mold.
Pragmatic makes more sense.
Right, exactly. I feel like pragmatic fits that idea that we're dancing around better.
Pragmatic makes a lot more sense.
Cool. All right. Goodbye, intellectual. That means the only cultural trait you still have left, the only thing that is true about Alpheus as a Sinian, like the stereotype he fits, is competitive so far. But I don't know if Alpheus is super competitive. He's just not super not competitive, right? Like it's not that he's not competitive. So I don't know if there's a reason to take it off yet, but he hasn't necessarily been acting on it that much. But time will tell whether or not that one could go to. That feels like a good change for Alpheus, just the one on and the one off. That makes sense.
I agree.
To everybody. Cool. And then we have Maya. Let's take a look. So your traits currently are colorful, religious, intellectual, competitive, thick skin, mark of privilege, bastard, and glib. So
I'm not a very religious person.
It's true.
I just haven't seen a ton of her.
But I don't know if you've been acting against the trait per se, right?
No.
It's in that weird state. Like I feel like we haven't seen enough of Maya's relationship to religion to know whether or not she's religious yet.
That might come in time with me working with the priest now.
Right, exactly. I feel like there might be an arc here where that's going to matter, and then we can see whether or not she is. I don't know. Is Maya? I don't think Maya's intellectual either, though.
Not really.
Right? I like even more so than Alpheus. I feel like Maya's.
Yeah.
Well, she's an actress, right?
What are you saying?
If we wanted to do a swap with that one.
Yeah, I think she's less intellectual and more like I'm gonna ride the coattails of the intellectuals and just smooth talk my way through things, kind of a thing.
Both you and Alpheus are very much like charismatic smooth talkers, but you're not thinkers, really. You act, you don't really think as much. Like, you have plans and things, but it's different the way you approach it. But I feel like Maya is way more competitive out of these three cultural traits than she is intellectual, for sure. So that I think I would vote to take intellectual off as well.
If we wanted to swap intellectual, the one I was thinking of was scheming. Because all of last season was her trying to wrangle things for her son.
Yeah. That one's a good trait. Let me find it here. Scheming. Oh, maybe it doesn't have a description here.
It's a die trait for 2 points. Scheming characters are always plotting and planning. It doesn't even have to be for their benefit or gain. Sometimes they just plot and plan to see their cleverness at work. I think, where is it? Combined with murderous or ambitious, this can be a very dangerous trait.
What, isn't there an actual mechanical thing to it?
Scheming allows the player to add +1 dice to his body of argument in a duel of wits.
Duel of wits, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I could also just see it swapping for ambitious, but
I feel like that maybe that makes more sense. I don't know if Maya is up to die trait level with that idea yet, right? But I feel like she's definitely ambitious. And it could upgrade, right? It could become more than ambitious into scheming. But I feel like we haven't seen Maya scheme yet. We've seen her plan, but especially where it says like they scheme just to scheme. I don't think that's true about Maya, at least yet.
Yeah, I feel like all of the planning she's done has been, or at least most of it has been in a very proper, like polite, like more official way. Like she's gone to Avra and she is like talked to Celadon and everything.
Yeah, she wasn't trying to be like manipulative with Avra really.
Right.
She was coming at it in a more honest way than someone maybe with this scheming trait. But
Still wasn't honest about it.
Yeah,
not at the beginning,
but a little bit more honest than could have been.
Well, even then she wasn't honest, even at the end, because
that's true.
She didn't reveal that Sun was the true heir. So.
That's true.
She could have figured that out. I just didn't blatantly say it.
True. Did you reveal it to the city when you were making that? When they were all making that speech, though, at the very end?
Kind of. I mean, yeah, but at that point, I don't think Avra cares.
Yeah, you revealed that you were the king's daughter, but I don't think the Sun thing was explicit.
Yeah, because he wasn't there, and that makes sense. Okay, I don't think
it would have been awkward.
It was brought up yet. And we have the heir, but he's captured right now.
He is currently captured by Kyrides.
Exactly.
So,
sorry about that. Play about
linchpin of our plan. It's over there. Whoops.
Yeah.
Basically, I think the argument, right, was we've got the real daughter here, and Avra is also coming with us. Like, so you've got two king's daughters leaving, like, follow us. That makes sense. Kind of a thing.
It makes sense to me to change intellectual with ambitious. Does that make sense to everybody else?
Ambitious is just a life path, right? Or I would change it.
Yeah, just a character trait. I just went ahead and changed it on your sheet. I just changed the entry. If you're editing it yourself, if you just click off, it should update to what I changed it to, I think.
Because I just changed it. Maybe we both changed
yeah. I guess it doesn't matter.
Typed it in.
One of us did it. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't know if we know enough about Maya to add anything else, really, right?
Nope.
We're just kind of tweaking a little bit. Cool. And then Avra. Talk about
Avra probably has some of the most change. I mean, possibly.
Yes, I think maybe. Okay, so her traits right now are your grace, formalist, religious, competitive, careful, birdie talk, mark of privilege, and driven. Your grace obviously still makes sense. There's no reason to change that. Formalist, I think, still makes sense. Like Avra still cares about etiquette. She still cares about formalities and stuff. I think she's still religious. Like she's she literally, when given a chance to change her official religion for political reasons, she said, no, I'm more devout than that. So she's really honestly the only character, except for maybe Ophelia, who's actually shown real religious devotion.
And I mean, she's definitely more like, what's the term? She's not like the most devout person in her religion that you could find in the city.
Yeah.
She's mostly just devout for patriotic reasons.
Sure. But that's part of the whole thing, right? Is that Sinians are known to be religious, and so it makes sense that you would continue to have the trait because you're Sinian. You're just being a Sinian.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think Avra's definitely still competitive because her whole thing with all the falconry stuff was around that. And careful was the one we added last time, so it doesn't make sense to change that. That's still true. I don't think there's anything we need to take off here. So the question would be, is there anything we need to add to Avra? Now, the one thing we do need to talk about briefly, Carly, is your madness. So you are the only one of the main four characters who ate the meat.
Right, I forgot about that.
Right. And I went back and forth on how I wanted to handle this. I considered doing like a whole emotional attribute where you were slowly devolving into madness or whatever, but I don't think you'd care to play that out necessarily. Am I right?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So my thought is we can kind of get more specific with the madness and push it in a plot direction. So you just got the Irida, right? The Book of Prophecy.
Right.
That apparently the King of Sinia has been keeping forever. using to run the kingdom. And I'm thinking we give you the dreamer trait as your madness. So I think in the same way that your father went mad, right? You are starting to see into the truth of everything. Finn, trying to play a role playing game.
I'm clipping his nails, so he's getting a little testy with me.
That's fair. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like your father, you're seeing into the truth of the universe, like the reality of what's happening, and that broke his mind a little bit, and he started going crazy. But there's still a chance for Avra to like use that like glimpse that she's seeing in a productive way instead of falling into literal like madness. Her brain is cracked, right? But it might not break fully. You might be able to fill in the cracks again. So are you interested in that? So the dreamer trait is basically I give you prophetic visions and dreams as the GM. So the idea would be your madness is about starting to see into the truth. You down with that?
Yes.
Cool. Because then we can kind of pivot into something plot specific instead of just being like, oh, Avra's gonna get a bunch of random madness traits and eventually kill herself or whatever, right? Like no one wants to see that. So yeah, I think that's definitely one trait that everybody fine with that, voting that on as part of her kind of madness situation. I don't see any objections, so I'll assume we're all good. Is there anything else more related to the way Avra was played last season that we think we want to add? Did you say anything, Josh, in the last season that you think might be relevant?
The question I would have that kind of precedes the one I thought of is, would Avra get a new bird or use the one that
that is definitely something
politician gifted last time?
Yes,
I forgot my bird died.
Yep. That's something that I wanted to talk about briefly. So I had I think it would be more interesting if we see that actually happen in play, right? So wherever Avra ends up, we'll talk about. I have an idea for what the season's going to look like in terms of where you guys are and what you guys are doing. I'm thinking maybe Avra has an arc where she gets a new bird, because for Avra, like Alikos was like her friend too, right? Because she actually like talks to the birds, right? And so it wouldn't be like just buying a pet from the pet store. It'd be like, I need to bond with this animal and actually like trust it. And then, okay, I've got my new bird. So are you interested in that, Carly? Like actually playing out that stuff? Okay, cool.
Cool. That also kind of fits in the one I was thinking of. So the one I would suggest is a trait called practiced precision.
Practiced precision. Yeah, okay, that might work.
It's essentially a die trait that says you have a trademark act that's repeated and you can do quicker. And it can do it for many things. But I was thinking possibly for a couple of reasons. One, we've seen her with the bird the entire seasons and now it's lost. So it's her still having this like habit of like putting on her falconry glove even though there's no bird there would be kind of an interesting point. And also it gives a reason to ship off the instinct of I always have my falconry gloves on hand, because now it's got a...
Oh, now it's a trait instead of just an instinct.
Now a trait instead of an instinct, yeah.
That's true. So reading off the trait here, Carly, just so you have a little bit more context. The description is, the match appeared in his hand, and in a tiny blur of motion, his pipe was lit. Phineas. This character has a trademark act that he has repeated so frequently that it has become a single action, like lighting a pipe with a match. Normally this would...
Sorry.
Do you want to mute yourself for just a second while I read this? Yeah. My child is so talkative. Normally, this would cost at least 3 actions, quote unquote, in the game, but the practice precision trait reduces that cost to 1 action. Players must decide what trademark act their character will practice before the character enters into the game. Combat-related actions may be practice precision trademarks. They are only reduced by 1 action rather than reduced to 1 action. So, yeah, that could be an interesting thing, because basically, this is the cycle of Burning Wheel beliefs, instincts, and traits, right? Is oftentimes a belief or instinct will evolve to the point where you're like, oh, this is just a thing that's like permanently true about my character instead of being a thing that we're working on or that might go away. So then that would free up a slot in your instincts to do something else, but you could still have your like, always have my falconry gloves ready to go, and you can just pull them out, and put them on quickly. Down with that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's fun. And that could come into play mechanically if we're ever going to do a situation where like getting your bird ready to go is important. So everybody cool with that to vote on? Sweet. Sounds great. All right, well, that's probably good for trait votes. And obviously, Josh's character is new, so we don't need to vote anything on here. He got all his traits for now. So let's talk about our situation, shall we? So where we left off with your characters, right? You guys left Sinia as it burned behind you. And Alpheus is currently on his way to Kyrides, imprisoned by Titan, and with what's his face, Ben Asher, Maya's son, right, in tow as well. Titan's plan, right, is to still go through with your plan, Alpheus, to go hire a retired Kyrides general, but Titan's plan is to make that guy on his side and to bring like a Kyrides army or whatever else, right, to go conquer Sinia instead of saving Sinia. And then let's see and then Maya is right on a ship going to was on a ship going to, I think the plan was to go to Setkis. So if you look at that map there, that's where Malekith is from. So this island kingdom over across the sea from Setkis, right? That's where Maya is headed. And with Malekith, that's where Malekith is from. And my idea, because Avra's in theory also going with Maya, but my idea is we split the party in 3, and we have right. Alpheus is obviously going to Kyrides, and he's going to have his adventures. Maya is going to go to Setkis because that's where Malekith is from, and she can do some politicking there and figure out, because the plan was to get resources and help from Setkis to bring back to Sinia. But Caledon is going to Nima, which is another city in the same kind of cultural heritage as Setkis, up in the north above Kyrides. And my thought is we have Avra go there, right, to meet up with Caledon, help him with what he's doing, because he has the third part of the plan, which is hire a bunch of mercenaries from Nima to come back and help. And I think that might be an interesting way to, because otherwise, I mean, Caledon's a very important part of Avra's character. And I also am interested in exploring this stuff. Like the 3 things that I think Avra can be up to, right, is helping Caledon, finding a new bird, and figuring out the weird prophecy dream stuff. And that will give her plenty to do. And then we can all converge back on Sinia once as all the different pieces of the plan get put into place. And then everybody comes back. Does that make sense to everybody?
That does, but isn't Avra like diseased? I thought we were quarantining.
Yes. So that is what we have to talk about now. So
okay. Because I think that works as long as she's...
Yes. I thought about it a bit, and I've gone back and forth on it. I don't remember. Josh, did I tell you where I landed on this? What, did we decide something when we were talking?
Well, the idea, as far as I understand it, because I was on the ship on the way back.
Yeah.
Which is why I was picked as like liaison.
Yeah.
Between. But, and I know that we establish in our chat that we want to start after it's at least solved. But how solved you want it to be.
That is what I'm curious about.
Because there are a couple of ideas I had.
Yeah.
But it also depends on how.
I would rather, specifically with Avra's stuff, I would rather start with her already almost to Nema. I'm not particularly interested in watching Avra. So my thought was basically, I'm not particularly interested in the disease part of it. You already convinced the priests to try to solve it, right? And I'm more interested in it just being solved. The thought of having to worry about a bunch of diseased characters running around infecting an entire populace just doesn't sound fun to me.
My thought was more how long ago it was fixed.
Yes.
Because I had a thought of it. Also depends. Basically, what I was saying was it also depends on how well you want me to know the Maya and that leadership. Because I could see one of the first scenes being me coming in and telling them that the last case of the disease has been cured, and introducing myself as the new liaison. Or we can go a bit further on track, because if we wanted to have me already known, I guess we could do this even if I don't know them particularly well. Is one of the reasons why I was picked is because maybe Avra was one of the first people I cured.
That's what I'm thinking.
I helped cure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Right. I think so. I guess this would probably be a good time. Josh, you want to fill us in on who your character is? How do you pronounce your character's name? By the way, I forgot.
Josa.
Say it again.
Josa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joser. Cool. Joser.
Just pretend you're saying Joshua and then say it real weird. And you got it.
Josa. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, do you want to introduce us to who he is? Because I think that'll help us tie the idea. Because then Josh's character will be part of the Setkiss arc with you, Maya. Because because Maya has Malekith and stuff, but there isn't as clear. There's not another clear character for Maya to interact with in the situation. Gavril, yes. But Avra has Caledon, Alpheus has Ben Asher and Titan. I feel like having Josh's character with you makes the most sense.
Fine with me.
Yeah. But yeah, go ahead and
I like you, Josh. You're cool.
Your
you can stick around with me.
Sweet. Yes, so Josa is middle to high leadership within the Church of Hagil in Setkiss. And Hagil is the lesser deity within Setkiss. He's where is it? He's sun, agriculture, and weather.
Yeah, so there are 4 primary deities. So think of in terms of a Greek pantheon sort of a thing. You have Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, but then Hagil is the 4th guy. It's as if Ra was also part of the 4 brothers who overthrew the Titans and became the lords of the gods or whatever, right? Hagil is the god of the giant sun that's always in the sky. But for whatever reason, Setkiss is primarily worshiping the Hades of the setting, Seraphim, the god of death. But Hagil or Hagil, however you want to pronounce it. I think in my mind it was Hagiel, but I'm not sure in the actual language what it would sound like. So,
I think that honestly, I think everyone in Setkiss says it differently.
Yeah,
because we're all well traveled, and
that's
so
fair.
we all have random pronunciations.
I'm sure different cultures pronounce it differently. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's also the reason why I'll probably have some really weird accent instead of an Egyptian one.
That's totally fine.
Despite playing being what's his name.
But yeah, so this is really funny. The other day I assigned a bunch of different things in the Hellbreaker universe, Magic the Gathering colors. And I decided that Setkiss is white black. Right. So you have the death god necromancy stuff, and then you have the Hagiel light law and order stuff going on with them. So continue. So if it had anything
so
else.
Yes, I'm probably going to be liaison within, because I end up swapping a couple of things around. So I now have a 3 dice affiliation with the Church of Hagil.
Okay.
which means so I'm pretty high up in it. I'm also probably your I'm replacing both the characters that are faith and weirdness, and so I will be your faith and weirdness guy.
Yes.
I pumped astrology and faith, so I pray and look at the stars and probably bind myself. Instead of glass, I'll just use the sun to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say astrology definitely looks different on this planet than it does in like Lalyra, for sure.
Yep. So yes, there's a few things. I'm hoping to make a couple of doctrine rolls at the start of the thing, because I have an idea of how the Church of Hagil works, which I'll have to run by you, Caleb.
Sure.
But it's the basic idea is I'm possibly going to have to be the guy who makes sure you guys have food, and tries to feed an entire city of people who just turned up.
Yeah, so basically, Joseph
being as god of agriculture helps.
The liaison with you, Maya, and the Sinian refugees with Setkis, right? So you showed up on their doorstep, and Joser's the guy they sent to like make sure that everything was fine, because they want to be nice to you, but they're also not going to like just let you in their city to like do whatever. And also you were diseased and stuff. So Joser and the Church of Hagiel has been helping you guys deal with that.
Joser was on the ship for his was in Sinia for his own reasons, and then was on the ship one of the ships that you commandeered. Okay. And then was basically helping out. And I mean, if you don't have to expose more people to the disease, just use the guy that was already there. And basically, he's been helping out ever since, more on the in the side areas and less prominently. And now he's probably taking more of a leadership role in dealing with you guys.
Cool. Yep, cool. So is everybody fine with that then? With right, the idea would be we kind of like have 3 different prongs going here, and then the idea is to eventually collapse them all back on Sinia as you guys try to retake it. That'll be the arc that we kind of go through through the season. Everybody cool with that? With me. Cool. Because I love the plan you guys came up with too much to just abandon it. Right. I think it would be super cool to see if you guys can still pull it off. Right. If Alpheus can get Ben Asher, can save Ben Asher, get free of Titan, redeem himself in some small way. Because you know what's going to happen if Alpheus shows up and saves the day with a retired Kyrides general, even if he did indeed betray you guys, he's still going to be a hero in everybody's eyes. So he might be able to pull this off if he plays his cards right.
Maybe.
That's the thing. Your husband and Caledon don't believe that he betrayed you yet.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. So Alpheus will definitely have an opportunity to at least get them on his side. So cool. And then Carly, you're fine then with having your part be about going to where Caledon is and dealing with all the other stuff. I think you're muted.
She's muted.
Oop. Yeah, that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. Because I was thinking like
that's what she would want to do anyway.
Exactly, right?
Like everything is falling apart. I need Caledon.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you would just stick around in Setkis for no reason, kind of, because you would end up being isolated anyway, no matter what happens. So I feel like it makes more sense for you to at least have like a direction you're going in, as opposed to just kind of sitting around in Setkis while Maya does politicking and you deal with weird prophecy things. I feel like, it makes more sense to kind of have Ever be a little bit more proactive, right? You guys got to Setkis. Joser and the Church of Hagiel like helped you guys get rid of this disease, including and then the priests of what's his face too, Artos, that Maya managed to convince to come with you guys. They all worked together, put their heads together and their collective faiths together, and cured a bunch of people. Aver was probably one of the first people to get cured of the disease, but she wasn't cured of her madness. And for Avra, we did know that one thing that changed with Avra, which honestly, we could maybe... No, I guess you added 2 traits already. We probably don't need to add another one. But we knew that her madness had kind of turned to obsessiveness, or a kind of inflated... what's the word I'm looking for? Inflated... passion and interest with things that she already cared about. So I feel like it makes perfect sense for Aver to be like, okay, I'm cured of the disease. I need to go find Celadon. Like, just, that's what I care about. I'm going to get it. Yeah. So if that makes sense to you.
If you need a priest to perform the marriage ceremony, I am available.
On Mondays and Fridays. So...
I will make sure it's a sunny day for the wedding.
Right. Well, you are on the planet that kind of is always sunny, but yeah. There's not even a night to worry about. You can do it at any point of the day.
And still rain though.
That's true. Let's see. And then the other thing to consider would be, I'm thinking maybe 2 months or something has passed, something along those lines. So a couple months, but not like anything too major that would like make things progress too far and Sinia be actually ashes at this point. So
3 months would be good for practice cycles.
Would it be okay? Yeah, that makes sense. We can do 3 months.
Yeah.
And so we won't like dig into the mechanics of the practice cycle right now. You and me, Josh, can kind of figure out this for people off screen. But what would you guys, in terms of, so Burning Wheel has a thing called the practice cycle, which allows you to, if we have downtime where there's nothing else happening, you guys can be working on skills in the background to get some tests for things. What sort of stuff would you want? If you can take a look at your skill list, you can also do this for being learned for most things. So if you want to learn a skill, try to practice it during this time. Basically, give me a couple ideas for what you would have been like doing in this time frame. We can give you guys some tests towards some skills. If you want to look at your character sheets.
There's some of them that definitely won't complete in a 3 month cycle, but I can give you a list of the types of skills that can.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a list? That makes sense.
Yep. So anything martial.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
So fighting things. If you want to learn an instrument in the meantime, go for it. Peasant skills work as well as seafaring skills and special skills. So things like wisers would also work there.
What about social? Doesn't social take?
Social is 1 month as well.
1 month,
and physical. So if you want to learn how to dance or speak to people.
Yeah, I feel like for you, Alpheus, that might be the thing to go with, right? Like you're just practicing persuasion or something.
I need to practice how to fight.
That's true. Yeah, you could do that too.
Because
so the thing is, I'm not sure you have an opportunity to do that.
Other people to fight for me every time. You have
to consider one thing though. You're imprisoned by Titan during this period, so it's not like he's going to give you a weapon and let you practice with it. So I feel like if Alpheus is just tied up all the time, right? I feel like what he's been doing is just running his mouth, right, and just trying to
that sounds like him.
Get the thugs around Titan on his side, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you're just like practicing your like persuasion and stuff.
Yeah, that sounds. I don't disagree with that.
That makes the most sense, like. Realistically.
Yeah. I agree with that. Plus, I mean, maybe that'll help me get out of this mess.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for an Iroh moment.
Right,
bulking
all
up.
Yeah, just bulking. Oh my goodness, Alpheus, you've put 15 fate points in persuasion.
That's all I got. That's my only ability that's worth anything.
Yeah, well, that means that I, as the GM, need to do a better job of giving you chances to use your other skills. We need to give you some blacksmithing opportunities.
Let me write a few contracts.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh.
I can make weapons. Why can't I make a weapon while in prison?
Well, you're on a ship, so
out of wood.
Make a prison shiv.
Yeah, prison shank.
With only 6 hours per day, you could make knife. You could get 3 tests in knives, boxing, and martial arts. Just bulk up, and then you've still got like 9 hours spare.
The thing is, he's not in prison. He is tied up and following Titan around, which is a different set of circumstances. Than
am I not in a boat anymore? Am I actually just?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be in a boat the entire 3 months. Like it doesn't take that long to get to Kyrides. But I think probably for you've been kind of. Maybe Titan has had to do various things in Kyrides before you actually are going to the place where you're going to hire the general or whatever. So you've been just kind of tagging along with him as he's done whatever he needs to do as his prisoner.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to do persuasion or what were the other skill types? Let's see what makes sense for you.
I was looking at his skills earlier, and he really needs. He's got like tens of thousands of difficult persuasions. Let's see.
Yes, that's true.
Challenging. You need a challenging for persuasion. I think you can probably rank up persuasion.
Nice. That'd be great. You have a 7 persuasion. That'd be awesome.
Yep. So with 2 months of work, you can definitely have persuasion. Yep.
Sweet.
You have that.
Yeah, that seems helpful.
As long as Caleb doesn't make me have to roll persuasion against guys with 8,000 will.
Well, the thing is, what Titan is dragging you to do is to talk to a person with ridiculously high will. That is technically the thing he's bringing you to do. So, but hopefully you'll have an opportunity to like try to convince a thug to help you again or something, that sort of thing. And you can always make persuasion tests against Ben Asher for things. He's a child, so he's easy to do persuasion against.
Well, I think the biggest issue is his persuasion is high enough that he doesn't.
Oh, that's true. He doesn't need routines. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is the problem, Alfie. Is you need to do high tests to continue advancing it because you're just so good at it now.
Oh yeah.
That only challenging stuff is gonna like, actually advance it for you. Cool. All right, that makes sense. Maya, Avra, what are you guys spending your time doing? This is kind of like abstracting your time and what you spend doing, right? Like, so for you, Maya, if you're like, I'm doing a bunch of court things, maybe you've been practicing etiquette, something like that, or falsehood or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking, I could either practice falsehood could be useful, since I will definitely probably need to be lying more.
Yeah.
But I also have glib for that, so I'm not
true.
Worried about it. I was thinking something either along the lines of like maybe I don't know if there's any like political things that I could be studying because now that I'm like kind of in the spotlight, I'm sure people are coming to me to like for decisions, and I'm just like, this is way above my pay grade.
Well, in terms of skills you already have, you have court wise, which can make sense, right? That wises are something you could practice in this time period pretty easily. Drama-wise, etiquette, extortion, falsehood, persuasion, soothing platitudes, ugly truth. Those are all political-oriented things that you could have been practicing, right?
Isn't there...
But you can also try to learn a skill, too.
Try to learn... Yeah, I was going to say, maybe I could try to learn something. Could I learn, like... oh my gosh, what's the really helpful one that I've had before? Rule of law?
Rule of law. I think that's like an academic one though, which takes a long time to get tested with practice specifically, right? Because like you're just reading books all day, sort of a thing.
That makes sense.
So you could have a partial test for it, but you wouldn't actually get a real test for it yet.
Right, I gotcha. Okay, then maybe not.
Right, because practical, like acting, doing things like wises and social are easier because you're just doing them all the time.
Well, I don't think I want to practice a current wise I have. Honestly, like I feel like
that's true. You're not usually rolling wises, and at least for the sort of stuff you're going to be using it for.
I have Chad's when you're ready.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just need to check one other skill, but I think I've got his.
This is why I'm happy to have Josh in this campaign. He can do all of the math for us that we don't want to do.
Okay. So he can grab 3 challenging persuasion tests.
Very good.
So
he'll advance
that'll rank him up.
Have one spare there.
Yep. He can also grab 3 easy etiquette tests by just making sure he uses the right terms for Ben Asher.
Right. You're that's true.
Basically, doing the right thing so that he knows what level the boy is on.
Is that something you would be doing, Alpheus? That makes sense, right? Like treating the boy as the prince that he is. That's kind of cool. And if you did that 3, then that advances it, right? Yeah, very nice. So you have a 5 in etiquette now. Man, with all of the times Alpheus has failed etiquette, this is a win for him for sure.
I failed, so I remember failing that so many times.
Every time you went to go see Avra.
The other ones I had you practice were falsehood. You get 3 tests of falsehood, so that's 1 away from
getting
being
the skill. Yeah,
learned.
That's good for you, Alpheus.
And also, when he's dragging you around through the streets, you can try and be inconspicuous and not get picked on. And that'll be also 1 away from...
1 away, so another 3 tests there.
1 away. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good haul for you, Alpheus, right? So you're, if you make 1 more test in falsehood or inconspicuous, you'll actually earn the skill. So that makes sense that you'd be practicing those, though, right? Throughout this period, you've been trying to lie. You've been trying to be under the radar. That makes sense to me.
Cool,
Neato.
Josh, do that for me.
Yeah. So Maya, what did you actually want to practice then?
I feel like I probably should practice falsehood, that or ugly truth. One of those 2.
Probably do both.
I probably could, yeah.
Is ugly truth a social one? That is a social one, right?
It is, yes.
It's based on deception, so it's sort of weird, but
I could even see an argument for like soothing platitudes, maybe for like comforting the people that are
sure, yeah, of course,
and keeping them under
all the sick people,
yeah, and being like, don't worry, there's hope.
Yep.
I could also see oratory being a possible skill to be learned.
That
was a
working on your public speaking.
Yeah. I feel like, well, maybe not, because I feel like I might just leave that to my husband.
I was gonna say, yeah, Malekith does have the skill.
Right. Given how our relationship works, I really let him lead and I just do the behind the scenes stuff.
You're kind of the behind the scenes person. Yeah. You have plenty of social skills, but you're not this person who stands up in front of people and does stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Only when I put on a play, which I put on a great show.
Exactly. You're like the person who, as long as you're playing a part, you can be in front of people, but as soon as you're yourself, you're like, no. Yeah.
Cut it.
Yeah, I should, Josh, you and I should get together sometime in the next couple of weeks, and we should give a bunch of practice tests to all the NPCs too. That'd be awesome.
Just within the first month, you can get a challenge, because yours will be a bit different finagling, because I can't just go straight the same thing, but I can give you, for the first month, grab a challenging persuasion.
Okay.
And then the second month, you'll be able to get that difficult one. Makes it easier.
So that
there you go.
That'll rank up.
Persuasion.
And upgrades it, yeah.
Yep. You can basically just spam 3 ugly truths, difficult ugly truths.
Did you already upgrade it, Alyssa?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I was sorry. I saw that you were
No, yeah, I want to make sure
that
only one of us was doing it. Yeah.
Yep. Spam 3 difficult ugly truths, and then it'll give you a spare difficult ugly truth and rank it up.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Okay.
And then yes, I will. I know you definitely will have one routine soothing platitudes in the first month, but I will confirm the rest of the months shortly.
Cool.
Josh Lang, MVP.
Look, I built an Excel document for this. It makes it a sight easier.
Yep. That's one thing I need to do for the weeb below, is I need to actually keep track of like practice cycles and like in terms of like the dates when things will finish and stuff, and have like a little calendar for all that stuff, because there's also a lot of like, I'm currently learning this from this person and it will end on this day, and I have a wound that will be healed on this day, and I need to actually just put dates in for that so we actually know when it will happen. So
yeah, because aren't I injured in that?
You're currently injured and you'll be healed in 5.5 weeks. Yeah.
Excellent.
And that was with my good surgery.
Yes, I know. Yeah. And then Avra, what are you interested in while Josh is doing the math on that other stuff? What have you been practicing? If you're there. She may be busy putting her child to bed or something.
Sorry, I didn't hear you say my name.
Oh yeah. Have you taken a look at your skills list there and thought of any?
No, because I am not at my computer at Roll20.
That is all good. What sort of stuff do you think Avra would be spending your time doing then?
Yeah, the one thing I was thinking of is, she's probably been reading the Irida.
That's true. Yeah. You could just advance read, I suppose.
Yeah. That's like the one thing I could think of that she would actually be
sure
focusing on right now.
Yeah. Well, it could be read in doctrine, might make sense, right? Because that's kind of what the Irida is like a prophecy book of your religion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Though I guess those ones are probably ones that will take a while to
6 months, yeah.
So yeah, 6. So you can do it if it makes sense to you. You can do it. It's just that you won't actually probably earn tests for it. It will be like partial tests. You'll be on your way to earning tests for it. But if you don't think Avra would be doing anything else, then that's fine.
Yeah, I can't really think of that much else.
Unless she was able to find a falcon and start bonding with.
Yeah, but I'm way more interested in like having that actually be part of the game.
Right.
Like getting to Nema and being like, what are the birds like here? And doing a whole thing there.
Yeah.
Etiquette might be something you were practicing.
Probably.
Feels like something Avra's always practicing. Let's see. You have romance wise. That's a good wise.
I need that.
Do you, Elvis?
In real life?
Oh, in real life.
I was going to say, you have a girlfriend, so do you know?
I'm not romantic at all.
That's fine.
You are also in the middle of learning a couple of skills if you wanted to practice those, Avra. So persuasion and ugly truth, for example. But yeah, I don't know. It does sound like Avra's probably kind of isolated and introverted right now, given her condition and the Irida holes, all that stuff. So it's not an optimal way to do it, but it seems like the realistic path to take here. I don't know if Josh can work some magic and get your test anyway, but we'll see what he comes up with. Let me look at my notes. What else are we doing here?
One thing I was going to ask, since Avra and I were going to start separated, one thing that I was going to say, because I wanted the Irida. Not I wanted the Irida, but Gavril did. Is there any way that maybe we can play out something where like we made copies of it or something somehow before Avra split off? Because there was about a month there where we were probably together.
Probably true. Yeah.
You remind me who Gavril is?
So Gavril is one of the noblemen who was part of Ophelia's council. He kind of took advantage of the situation. He was a powerful nobleman before Ophelia's rise, but he managed to play his way into the council. I don't know what he was in charge of exactly. Like Malekith was like the commerce dude, and other people had their own roles. I'm not sure what Gavril. Oh, he's like a lawmaker, isn't he? Isn't that most
I thought
of
he was like a lawyer or something.
Yeah, he has he has a court lawyer, bailiff, and justicar as his life path. So he was like the law dude, the master of law of the city. So why did he want the Irida exactly?
Because he wanted to read the prophecies to see if we could spin it for my son.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right?
I think that's the case. He was like, we need to get this because if we do, we can make your plan work really well.
Right.
Is that correct, Josh? Is there a detail we're missing there?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if Maya explained this to Avra, would she be fine with making copies of passages, or is Avra kind of like weirdly obsessed with it and won't let anyone look at it?
I don't think it's like necessarily an obsession, at least not yet, but I think she would feel like there's some kind of sacredness about it that like it would not be appropriate to do that.
But I'm the king's daughter. We're sisters. There's no secrets between sisters. Yeah. I don't know. So,
yeah, I mean, if it sounds like Avra wouldn't want you to, so that might be something we could start off with and have a roll be made to see if Maya could convince. Is that something Maya could convince you of, Avra, depending on the situation?
It would probably have to be a really good argument.
Sure. Well, what argument would you bring to bear, Maya, to have done this? What do you think?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because since this is happening technically in the past, we could probably just
that's the problem is that I don't know that Maya would. She would use guilt to be like, I saved you.
Yeah.
I'm your sister. I'm the one who told you. Like, and I think her whole argument with go get the Irida was we'll figure this out together, right? We'll figure out what happened to our father together, right? That was her whole argument, is like, you shouldn't have to interpret this yourself, like let me help you, kind of a thing. And that's probably the angle she'd go at, is like, I told you I wanted to help you, and so I'll do that. But I mean, and that's true, she does want to help her, but she also wants to go with Greville's plan still.
So. Yeah. Is that something, Avra, that Maya could make a roll on, what she just said there? Or is that not enough, you think?
I don't think that would convince her, because she's like similar to Maya coming to her earlier in the last season and saying like, I like trying to be her friend basically with like little other explanation. Like Avra's just like, this is a little like bigger picture than that. So like I don't think she would be swayed by a guilt trip, because she's just like, there's important things that I have to be doing right now, and so that's not gonna deter her.
Yeah, so I guess unless Maya steals the book and copies it without Avra's knowledge, it sounds like Avra's keeping it away from you.
I certainly would not go to steal it. Somebody else might, but I would not.
I'm not sure there's like a person on your... You could circles up someone, I suppose, but there's not a person we know of right now who could do that for you. So if you want to circles up someone, you could. Or like, because then another tactic we could take could be like, okay, well, Maya can't get this from Avra, so maybe she looks into whatever Setkiss has. You know, do they have weird prophecy things that she can use? Like, is there something else that she can spin that's more related to her current situation than whatever Avra's doing? So that might be a way of taking it.
Because I mean, the spin is that he's half Setkiss, half Sinia.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So
yep.
That's fair. And Gavrill's really the one who wanted it. I was just like, sure, I'll see if I can get it for you.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like if you made these arguments to Avra, she wouldn't budge, and then you went back to Gavrill and said, hey, I tried. He would I don't think he would press it either. I think he would be like, you know what?
That's right. Then I won't press it either.
Like, yeah. I think he's just like, well, let's just figure out a different way to go about this then.
Because it wasn't one of my goals, so sure. I don't care.
Yep. I'm down with that. I think I like that better. Anyway, because then Avra can just kind of deal with all that other stuff without it being a part of it. It seems like an Avra thing now. It's kind of part of her plot and not yours anymore. So
totally fair.
Cool.
From what I hear, it's used for augury, and I can do that anyway.
That's true, right? Like, basically, Josar is the guy you're gonna go to for that stuff now. Like, he's the weird faith dude that you can figure out stuff with there. Cool.
So I couldn't give Maya too many further advancements, but I did get you within like a couple of tests, like a single test of advancing stuff. So your falsehood is one easy lie away. Your etiquette is one easy test away from upgrading. And I think there was one other one, but it's easy enough. Also, first thing Avra should do is get heraldry. Heraldry was super important last time. She made all of 2 tests on it.
Well, hey, did you put those in for me? Is that what
I think
okay. I was like, wait, one easy one away. I have 3.
yeah. Well, I realized that Avra had this skill and took an entire life path off of it, and then at the very end was like, I need to make this important somehow.
She could get a routine test in it and therefore advance it, and then she'd have heraldry 3.
Would you like that, Avra?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if that's actually going to keep being important at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure it is, especially because you're going to a completely different city.
Right. Because like heraldry is mostly like,
it's basically like, which family has this coat of arms and what does it mean?
Right. It's like Sinian families. It's not
pretty
like
much, yeah.
Nation
well,
heraldry.
It would also apply for whatever their families are if you want to recognize them. But
yeah, she could make a roll. It would probably be harder than doing it in Sinia, but yeah, technically she could make a roll. But yeah, I think I agree with it. I think maybe we've like gotten everything that Avra could get out of heraldry. We probably just need to focus in other areas of her character sheet, which is just too bad because that was like an entire life path that you took. But oh well, it is what it is. Did you mark anything yet on Avra's, Josh? Or are you still kind of?
No, I'm still looking. A lot of them are like academic or rule of law. I know I can definitely bump up a oratory for her. That's easy. And what's the other one? Oratory, etiquette, easy. Doctrine would be super easy. I'll have a squares. I can probably just give a straight 3 tests on that learned persuasion. That's one of the things she can do.
Mm-hmm.
Try and persuade people.
What do you think, Avra?
Persuasion is definitely something that I want to be better at.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like you may have been dealing with people trying to bother you for a month. So maybe that's how you got your persuasion.
Yeah,
leave me alone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of random social skills that I can chuck on here. Like we could have you be asking questions of everyone on the ship, trying to find out stuff and get interrogation. There's a lot of fun, weird, silly social skills that you can get. Mm-hmm. You could start learning jargon and try and talk to what's his name in an entirely secretive language. You could be studying the foreign languages to help you when you get there.
That's true.
That's an option.
Yeah, which category is that? Is foreign languages in?
Social.
Isn't social? Wow. Okay. Yeah. That honestly might be a good play, Avra, because you are going to a different city.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Cool.
That seems like something she would actually be somewhat equipped to do, at least.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously, she's not...
Yeah, you're a noble lady.
Super... Yeah, but she's not extremely academic, but I think she would at least definitely try to start learning as much as she can.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Do you want to be able to lie? Because that's the only one I can think of at the moment. That is on here. That.
What was the question?
Do you want to be able to lie?
Ooh. Right now, it's definitely not like one of the things that Avra's good at or has ever like felt she needed to be good at, but I feel like that would be a really interesting way to take her character of like sort of a Caleb's the only one probably that'll get this, but in like a Tress sort of way of like,
right,
she's never had to do stuff like this before, but now she's like, oh, maybe this stuff is actually necessary in my situation.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
Okay, I'll replace heraldry with falsehood. And would you prefer interrogation or command?
Oh, probably command.
Yeah,
since
that's what I was
she's
noble lady.
She is she's a bit of an authority, but she's never really actually used it to her advantage.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be fun because we have 3 entirely new places. Like we've done 2 seasons in Sinia, and I'm excited to explore all the other places in this world, and get a whole bunch of fun, colorful NPCs we can circles up and learn all about all these different places, and all sorts of fun stuff can happen. Very excited for you guys to learn about the way Setkiss works and all of the weird necromancy things that they're involved in and all that stuff.
Fun.
I promise I'm not. It's not me.
It is not Josh. Don't worry.
It isn't me.
Cool.
That's not my name.
Well, I think the thing we should do now is we should finalize beliefs and instincts for the next arc here, right? Let's take a look at what we have going on and make sure everybody's beliefs are set how they want it to be. So the first, like, since we're already talking about Avra right now, I was thinking, Carly, think 3 very easy ones for you, right? Is one about Caledon, one about your bird, new bird stuff, and one about the Irida, right?
Yeah.
What do you want those to be?
What's my stuff right now? That's already.
Oh yeah, you know what? I just realized. So Cyrillus found out what happened to your father, but you technically didn't ever find out what happened to your father. So that might be a place to go. Like if you're already doing Irida stuff, your first belief is I believe my father was ill by someone else's doing. I will seek answers in the Irida, right?
I can smell it.
Yeah.
You can just keep that one probably for now, right?
Yep.
And then I believe marrying Caledon will give the city hope. I will convince him of this. Do you want to do that still right now? Or that was kind of like to figure out the Sinia stuff?
Yeah, I still want that to be the thing that I'm like
that's your
working on with Caledon. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out,
because I feel like the belief has definitely needs to be rewarded pretty significantly.
Yes.
But the same general thrust is there. Like, I believe Caledon is meant to be my partner in life. And then have the second part basically be, I will assist him with his work in Nima. Right? So it's taking the angle of, well, we're going to be married, so I'm going to start acting like, his partner and start helping him with things, right? Being a support for him.
Yeah.
And then the third one can be something about your bird stuff. So like,
yeah, probably, like, I believe a lady isn't noble without a bird.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I believe
I will find a new companion.
Perfect. Believe a lady is not noble without a bird. Without a bird on her arm.
Yeah.
And then what do you say was the second part?
I will find a new companion.
I will find a new companion. Perfect. That's great. And if we need to make those smaller, like figure it, like have it be a smaller step instead of the larger thing, we can always do that when we get to it. So, so you can get Persona easier. So your instincts right now are: if I have a task beyond my specialty, then I seek the advice of someone more competent. Is that still true?
I think yes, but I think she doesn't like think that she does that as much anymore. But I think that's still her instinct, is like,
she might be growing out of it, but she still has it for now.
Yeah, she's gonna start like hesitating before she does that.
So that's good. Any other stuff? So we have basically 2 blank slots now for Avra, instinct wise. What do you think should go there? What are some things that Avra is going to be doing instinctively? Like, is there something about the Irida that is maybe going to become instinctual for you? Like, it literally could be something like, if you're starting to really read this a lot, it could be like, when I have a question, I will consult the Irida for aid, right? Like, it literally could be like, that's my go-to when I need an answer to a question.
Yeah.
If I have a question, I will consult answers from the Irida. Sounds good. Yeah, do you have another idea for, does anyone have, Josh, do you have a idea based on how Avra's been playing for something, maybe?
I'm not particularly sure. It was...
At one point, Avra had an instinct like, if someone's in need, I will help them, or something along those lines, and then she never did it, so she took it off.
Yeah, the only ones I could think of are things like that, where they would have been true, but I don't know how true they are anymore. Exactly, if she is more obsessive.
I don't know. My maybe something about her father, like her father, the mystery of him. Like if I hear some rumor about my father, I must pursue it or something. I don't know.
Well, I feel like if I have a question, I will consult answers from the Irida. Kind of already covers that, right?
Same thing, right?
Yeah,
it's already broad enough to cover that and other things. So usually these are like any always, never, or if then statements. So is there like something that Avra would never do?
Perhaps something to further the bird thing is just, if you see a bird, talk to it, ask it about its owner or its friend or the surroundings.
Yeah, I like that one. Especially since she's going to be like actively trying to find a new bird.
Yeah.
She's going to be basically like stealthily interviewing every bird she encounters.
So like if I meet a bird, I will seek to determine its character. Something like that, maybe?
Yeah.
Like what are you looking for when you're talking to the bird? Is that, I assume it would be something like that, right? Like to judge whether or not it would be a good companion.
Yeah. Trying to think of like, I want her to make a connection to Alikos somehow, but I don't want it to just be like, I will, look for a friend or look for a bird that acts like Alikos or something like that. Because that, like, I don't necessarily want her to just have a copycat or
I feel like
version of her old bird.
I feel like this instinct is good because it has there are subtle hints that that's what she's really doing, right? She's meeting a bird and then seeking to determine its character. We know that Avra would want a bird that is like Alikos, at least in some fundamental ways, right? Like loyal and clever and whatever else, right? So I feel like that's already kind of inbuilt in that.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense to me. We need to take King Thestios off your relationships here because he's dead. Unless you want to talk to his ghost.
You can find him in the afterlife. Maya, I could give you those extra points tests you need. Your will is 6. You have more time on your hands.
Oh, dang.
Wait,
yeah, Average just spends all day, every day practicing.
Maya has 6 will, which means she has 3 extra hours than anybody else.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, because basically it's like, what is it? Will times 3 is how many hours you get per day to practice. Maximum of 18, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Josh. You're the goat.
No, that was Cyrillus.
No, that was last season.
Yeah. Or they had a goat at least. Cool. So Maya, what do you think in terms of beliefs and stuff? Because I think the disease thing is going to be over with, I think, by the time we start, right?
Right. So I'll do whatever it takes to elevate my son to the place of the prophet king. I will make my position known. I've done that, but I feel like there's more I could do.
You can make his position known in Setkiss, right? Instead of Sinia.
Okay, so make...
I will... Yeah, I mean, honestly, I will make my position in Setkiss known to the public. You did it in Sinia, and, it kind of worked, but now you need to get the Setkissians or the Atakets or whatever on your side.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, I'm not typing. Setkiss, okay. Alpheus is a traitor. I will ensure he is never welcome back in Sinia.
Keep that. Thing is, as of right now, no one is welcome back in Sinia. But
I know, right? Exactly. I don't know how relevant this belief is.
Yeah, I don't think it's relevant right now. Like, it's certainly something that's going to come up later, but currently, it's probably on the back burner.
Add a belief and just keep it on as a thing.
Yeah,
but not have it as one of my main beliefs.
It's on the back burner. Yeah.
If you go to the journal tab, it has a spot for
extra beliefs. Oh, okay.
Yeah, retired and beliefs that will be in the future, but you're currently ruminating on. I believe that's literally you can give it the tag ruminating as you're ruminating.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I just really got to know,
there really should, there definitely should be a belief with Joser, right? Like, you're going to be working with him for something.
I feel like maybe a belief is I need to build my connections here in Setkiss, and
well, I think that's definitely what the first one is.
With. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that kind of goes with the first one, though.
Yeah, I think that's your first one. That's kind of encompassing making contacts, getting them on your side, all of that stuff, and we can change the specifics of it when you're on a particular goal of yours. What other stuff does Maya care about except for getting the Setkiss? I care
about nothing other than my son.
Well, because you could also.
I was gonna say get Abra on my side, but we're not with her.
Yeah, you're not gonna be with her. One other idea would be Malekith is going to be doing probably different things than you are. Right? He has a different skill set than you do, so you could maybe even just have a belief about helping him with his stuff.
I have that.
Yeah.
Oh, is it already on there?
That's
I'm Malekith's partner and will stand by him no matter what. And the last part will be something like I will help him with his goals in Setkiss or whatever. We can change that to be whatever it's going to be. But I think
realize that Malekith is the next prophet king because he married the princess. You know that thing.
Yeah, technically, given what they were going to do with Avra and Celadon, that is technically a thing that you could attempt.
Have Malekith be the king?
Just have Malekith be the king, yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if Malekith wants to be king.
It's definitely a harder sell because Malekith is not at all Sinian. He has no Sinian blood.
Yeah, right.
Celadon makes more sense. Celadon was a better play there, but
I don't think me and Malekith have any desire at all to rule.
I don't think he does. Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is that I really didn't want my son even necessarily to be king. I just wanted him to be in a place where he was going to be taken care of. Yes. But then Gravril was like, well, he's king or nothing if you want my support. And I was like, fine.
Yep. I'd say that second belief should just be something with Joser, right? We could figure out what you guys are going to be working on.
Okay,
Joser,
so
what stuff do you have on your sheet already about that sort of stuff?
Mine are presumably I'm going to get stuff from you, but I haven't made it specifically them. That way I can, still get my persona if I don't get it from them.
Of course.
But yes, so I mean, I can just tell you my beliefs and instincts if you want.
Yep, go for it.
My current beliefs are Hagiel's power must be increased if his light is to pierce the coming darkness. I will request a public debate against Kalik.
Kalik being the priest of Artos, who's currently in charge of that stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
If I am to maintain myself, I must have the funds to do so. I will obtain some measure of cash or funds to more easily provide my needs.
Cool.
And currently the third one is Thalia is well adapted for her days in the wilderness, but needs refinement if she is to survive society. I will assist her in learning the basics of financial trade.
Cool. Oh, yeah, what are instincts, just for fun?
Yep. Always pray for greater insightfulness before entering a social situation. If Thalia is addressed negatively, then I ready my knife.
Very good.
And never reveal the true intentions behind your actions.
Amazing. Love it. Yeah, so it sounds like the thing that makes the most sense if we want to tie something together here is Joser with his get some cash goal. If we wanted to tie something, like if Maya wants Joser to be an ally, right? Because he has.
Isn't that part of? I thought that was part of Make My Position Noted. Sethkis though is getting people to be my allies.
Yes, but we can make one. Yeah, I guess
you could probably. I mean, so far Joser has been remarkably trying to assist you. Since arriving, he even being on the board of the ship, he already tried to heal Avra and obviously succeeded. Right, so he's obviously been trying to help you out, possibly a little too much, and possibly the first thing that I tell you will exacerbate that slightly, because essentially the first thing Joser says is going to say to you is going to be along the lines of, I place you second only to Hagiel in my loyalties, which seems a bit over the top, right? So perhaps one of your belief could be something to do with Joser seems
this weird
a little
guy
too good to be true. What is going on with this dude?
Yeah. Yeah, because Joser isn't really in the same category as the city of Sethkis, really. He's kind of the in-between between you and the city. So I think that's probably a good belief, something along figure out what's up with this dude who's just been helping us for no good reason. Right?
He's prominent in the Church of Hagiel, which is the secondary church, and he has it is a 3D reputation, so it's national, it's big bones, but at the same time that just makes it even weirder. Why is a prominent guy in the church, not even just a random priest, but this big guy doing it? What the heck's going on?
Yeah, he was randomly on a ship in Sinia, and then you guys commandeered it, and he was just hey, this is fine.
This is fine as the city burns behind us.
Yeah. That's Ophelia. That's Ophelia on her
Let me introduce you to my niece. My niece is lovely, isn't she?
Indeed.
Yeah,
so something along those lines.
I guess that just depends on how much interaction we're actually going to be having together. I do want to tie us together, but I don't
So as in terms of where you guys stand with each other, Joser is your liaison to the Setkessians, the Atuket right now. So he's the dude you go to figure this stuff out. Because you guys basically have a weird conclave outside the city. Or enclave outside the city.
Well, so I guess that's more my thing is right now we're kind of outcast, but now that the disease is cured, would I be able to maybe do some more political things?
Yeah, let's make the second belief. So the first belief, right, is about the whole get the Setkessians on your side to go back and save Sinia. The second belief can be about let's make us not a weird enclave out in the wilderness outside the city. Let's actually figure out a way
I want to take care of the citizens.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
Because that'll tie Joser in pretty specifically. Just by default.
Default, right. Okay. So so my belief is the citizens of Sinia have been through a lot.
Sure, yeah.
And they need comfort. I don't know.
Yeah, the citizens of Sinia have been through a lot. Have been through many trials. Period. I will seek their good in our current situation. Something, and that's really vague and broad, but we can always. I have a feeling that for all of these beliefs, we're going to nail down a specific pretty quickly. To work towards.
Ensure they are taken care of in this foreign land.
Yeah. Perfect.
Because it's not just about getting them on my side; it's also about taking care of my people.
As a note, your kind of two beliefs you have in like the back burner here. Sophocles, the playwright, did come with you guys. So if you ever want to try to start up a play here, you can still try to pursue it.
I was thinking about that.
We can see how it goes and see if something arises. But Sophocles is still around. All right, cool. And then last but not least, we got Alpheus. I hate Titan and want him to die. I will either escape his clutches or kill him myself. You're still on board with that one? You muted.
I kind of think all my beliefs still make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you made them before we started wrapping up anything. Like this was already going to be your the stuff.
Yeah, because I'm still in the same exact situation that I was in before.
Yep.
I don't remember why we need military help though.
So
I forget what was happening.
Basically, the whole thing that like set off this plan that you guys came up with was what's his face? Malekith failed a resources roll to keep the city fed and like okay. And he was basically like, okay, the city has a year to live or we're gonna all starve.
And some enemies are pushing in on
the Jagadi, right? The raiders that are outside of Sinia that were the people responsible for your town being attacked and stuff, are basically burning all the towns, destroying all the crops, and Sinia is gonna starve. And so the idea was, get a bunch of armies, go drive the Jagadi back. In the meantime, while that's happening, figure out with logistics and stuff how to save the citizens and get them inside Sinia's walls. All that stuff was going to be part of the plan. So in theory, right, you're going to go to hire this Kyrides general, and he's going to know about strategy, logistics, all of that stuff, and he can help you plan the how to take back Sinia.
But Titan wants him to.
He wants him to do the same thing, right? He just wants, at the end of the day, Kyrides is going to own Sinia, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to save it. They're just going to own it at that point.
I just want to point out that despite all the raids by the Jagadi and all the neglect, the farmers, they never had their crops blighted or anything. Praise Hagil.
That's true.
Hagil didn't smite you or anything.
Yeah,
We're good.
True. That's true. So second belief, right, being we need military help. Therefore, I will find a Kyrides general to help us and attempt to convince him that Titan needs to die. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
so I want him to help us and help me kill Titan.
Yeah. Your goal is not just to get them on board with the plan, but your specific version of the plan where Titan dies.
Yeah. And then we can establish Ben as the king if this general decides to help us.
Yep. Your plan is to still do the plan. You just have to get rid of Titan somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then your third belief, I feel terrible for getting Ben kidnapped and will do everything I can to keep him safe and return him to his mother and father and establish him as king. Yes, all three of these beliefs
they're related.
They rely on Titan being dead. So
I find a way to get rid of
look forward to you attempting to do this. Yes, this would be great.
I got all this persuasion skill now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
It's true. All right, cool. Yeah, that seems like a good place. Are your instincts going to change at all? Always try to track my way out of trouble. Always treat others of the lower classes with respect. Always ensure that those I trust are lifted up. Those all seem true, probably, right?
The second one I feel like is not very applicable.
Well, I mean, they're going to be Kyrides servants and things, right?
Yeah.
If it's still true about Alpheus, I can certainly make an opportunity for you to act on it.
Yeah, that's still true of him, for sure.
Yeah.
The only person around you that you might trust, though, is like Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps you could make that instinct something more specifically Ben.
That's true. Yeah, you could.
I don't know how to phrase it though.
I don't know how self-sacrificial Alpheus is, so I don't think it's like if Ben's in danger, throw myself in front of him. But
well, it's so the thing is, he already has
specific.
A belief about this, though. He does have the belief that says, "I will do everything I can to keep him safe and return him to." Like, I feel like that already kind of covers that. I don't know if he needs an instinct as well, because I feel like this would be less of an instinctual thing on Alpheus's part and more just like a thing he's thinking about and have a belief about and is driving towards. I don't know if there's like an actual instinctual nature to it yet.
It may though, but I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think you're right.
I
don't think at this point it did. I still haven't spent that much time. I don't really know him. Then I just meet him.
I mean, technically, you've now spent 3 months with him, so we can move that relationship along a little bit, probably. Yeah. Right.
Speaking of, that was the funniest thing that I found in the rewatch.
Yeah,
is in the first season it's established that Alpheus was staying in Malekith's house for a bit, and he still never noticed that Malekith had a wife.
Yes, yeah. Well, because I didn't know that Malekith had a wife at that point in the campaign. But yeah, I mean,
good, well kept secret.
Yeah, I think it was like we already retconned to say that is exactly why is he's just very careful about it. So,
I forgot I lived with him.
Yep. You were out doing stuff a lot though too. I feel like you were the kind of
I don't remember
person who stayed on someone's couch where like you really only showed up at 10, 11 p.m. at night and then crashed on the couch and fell asleep and then went up early in the morning to go do whatever.
Yeah.
Or slept until noon when everybody else went off to do stuff. whatever the case may be. Cool. But I think that's probably a good place to kind of call it for now. I basically just wanted to get like a good sense of like what's going on, what the characters care about, what our starting situation is, so that we can start in earnest next time with all that kind of figured out. So we'll start off next time with Alpheus, in Kyrides, and Titan's going to be. I don't know if I don't think you're like there at the retired general's estate yet necessarily, but you're certainly in Kyrides doing something. And then that will be the next thing that happens is like, he's going to be like, okay, now time to find the general or whatever it is. And then Maya and Joseph are going to be working in Setkis doing their stuff, working on their beliefs, and Avra will be probably arriving in Nema, right. When we pick up with her.
Do we want to go with the, I'm coming in to tell them that the last case has been cured?
I think that's probably a good place to start with you guys for sure. Yep. And then Maya can start looking at that second belief and being like, okay, cool. We figured that out. Now what to do about the refugees now. Right. And that'll lead into figuring out what to do with the priests of Aratos. And you have a belief about the priests of Aratos, and there'll be a whole big kind of connected thing that we can hopefully just keep following, all the way through. Cool. Yeah. And then throughout I have there's probably 4 different kind of, side things that I'll probably be popping in as scenes as we go along. Right. I think we're going to see scenes of Ophelia and what she's doing. We're going to see scenes with Cyrillus and what he's doing. We'll get little snippets just to kind of fill out the world and what's happening. We're going to find out what's been happening with the Jagati raids, right? Like Sinia fell and is now under complete control of all the cultist stuff, but the Jagati are still out there. Like, how are the townsfolk doing? And I have some scenes kind of planned there to kind of reveal to us, at least as an audience, what's kind of going on, so we don't completely ignore Sinia for the entire season and then come back and are surprised by everything that's been happening. And then there might be another character that we kind of follow and find out some things about as well. But yeah, it'll be fun. I think there's a lot of cool world building stuff that we can kind of dig into this time, kind of seeing the world beyond Sinia, and we can start tying in a bunch of cool threads together. And we're aiming towards the kind of larger climax of what's been kind of building up throughout the show. And there may be some bigger than just saving Sinia things that will come out as we continue the season. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. We'll figure out when we can do the kind of first proper session. And I think for now we'll go ahead and call it. Awesome. This has been Death and Madness. We'll be back next time with more madness and or death. Thanks for playing, guys. We're out.
Sweet.
Adios.